way back, we did not have GPS. And all you people in your teens, 20s, and 30s today who just see it on your phone and use it all the time, you'd be totally lost without it. You wouldn't have any idea how to function, how to get anywhere if you had to look at a paper map and figure out I'm here and I'm trying to get there 450 miles away. How long will it take? Where do I go? What do I do? So, I grew up in a time when we had that. Hard as it may be to believe, I've always thought I was born at the perfect time in our history, because I grew up when we didn't have any of this technology we have today. And I remember in the early to mid 90s when just having dial-up internet was an amazing thing. And you go to download just a still picture and see at the top of your screen like a half-inch tall line. One line, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, just to get a still photo on your screen. Forget about video. But we didn't have GPS. The Department of Defense was working on it as far back as the late 70s. And in 1988, Ronald Reagan opened it up to civilian use, although it was still going to be years before you could actually use it on a regular and consistent basis. I had a little bit of experience with this. Aside from being born in 1970, which, yeah, that means I'm 55 and a half years old. Wouldn't think so, huh? But even more amazing than that, I was actually in the U.S. Army from 88 to 92. Now that is crazy, huh? And the people in the Army thought so too. You? Yeah, me, I was not one of those real motivated, types. I was more like, yeah, whatever. I was not loudmouth Tim yet, but I was having all the experiences that helped the formative creation of me and how I am now. You know what your problem is? A lot of that kind of thing. Here is a picture of me when I was 20 years old and about 180 pounds. Take a look at this. Look at that. How about that, huh? Loudmouth Tim before Loudmouth Tim was Loudmouth Tim. Crazy, isn't it? Oh, I know. I look back to those days now and some of the old pictures. I think, geez, oh man, how things have changed. Let me fix the camera now. Back in our old, here's the story. Way back in the spring of 92, my company, we had an announcement one day. We're sending a group out to NTC. That's National Training Center, Fort Irwin, California. Look it up. It was going to be my third time going. Originally, my group wasn't going to go. And I told my sergeant, hey, if I need anyone else to go, I'll volunteer to go. Because I only had about 4 or 5 months left in the Army at that point, I was going to be getting out. And I actually enjoyed it. I was after 3 separate times. I found it to be pretty nice and peaceful. You could just look around and see way off in the distance and, think. And it was just sheer quiet out in the desert during the daytime. And my job was mostly at night, so, that was different. But I thought, well, this is my chance to go. If I'm going to go, I got to go now. And when I got out there, hey, surprise, they are trying out and testing their new GPS units. They're getting the satellite constellation all in place. And we'll use those for part of our training. Now, at the time, they didn't have the full constellation of 24 satellites up in the air. That wouldn't happen until sometime in 93. So when I was there, our units would show on the screen, tracking 1 satellite, tracking 2 satellites, whatever. You had to have 3 for it to work. And depending what time of day it was, I saw as many as 5 at certain times. But you had to have 3. And this is what it looked like. Am I holding this right? Yeah, that's what the GPS unit looked like. It was about 1 foot square and a couple of inches thick. This square in the middle is the antenna of the GPS unit. It's not like your phone these days. It was a lot bigger back then. And here's one more picture of it. You had your screen with no colors. It was just black and white. Oh, come on, camera focus. You had 1 knob and a couple of switches there, and that was what you had. Hold on, fix It's this stupid camera. Now what's up with this thing? Come on, focus. I don't know if you're seeing me. My screen's all blurry here. Come on, wake up. Quit messing up. Making an episode here. Anyhow, we used the thing all the time when we were out there. And, it worked most of the time. It was enough for us to we could look at that thing and say, okay, we are here. And we know we're here because it's working this time of day. We want to get over there. So we know where we are, where we're starting from, and where we're going to. Hold on a second here. Hold on. What is with this? I don't know if you're seeing it all messed up or not, but I'm looking on my screen. And okay, now it's better. My image of me was all blurry there for a minute. Yeah, this cheap webcam, you can't do much with it here. It's just going to hold still. Anyhow, we used it out there. I thought, hey, this is pretty cool, having this thing tell you where you were, and instead of trying to read the big map and hope you get it right, and someone calls and they say, where are you? I say, I think I'm here. So you think? Well, you better know. Well, I'm definitely somewhere. I can't guarantee if I'm here or there. And they don't want to hear that when they're trying to conduct their missions. Yeah, they don't have much of a sense of humor about that kind of thing. Anyhow, years later, I really never had much of a need for it myself. There were times when I was out of the Army, going to college, applying for jobs, going to certain jobs here and there. I'd have to find out, like the first day, okay, where am I going? What town? What street? Look on the map without the help of a computer, or very minimal help of a computer, and then go find where you were. And then once you're in the car, you don't have the computer there with you. You have to say, well, go this many miles, turn on this street. Go this many miles, turn on that street. And hope you didn't mess it up. And hope the actual directions were right on the map. So now once GPS come out for everyone, oh yeah, it's so easy now. Just here. You make a wrong turn, recalculating route, going. Hey, forget that. You make 3 lefts and that equals 1 right, and then get back on track. And now, young people, I'll say young people from my perspective of being a little bit older, not old, older. As old as many, many years ahead of me. Of course, that's what I thought 20 years ago, too. Well, people who are my age now, all those are old people. Well, now you're that age. Am I that old now? Am I old? No, I'm older. It's old is still way ahead of me. Young people today, they never lived without it. It was always there for them. They never had to read a paper map and figure things out for themselves. They have their phone to tell them everything. I don't want to sound like I'm getting old, but that's one of the problems with the kids today. They never had to think for themselves. Their phone tells them everything. And if they can't find it on their phone, then they are just completely lost. And boy, you should have lived in my time when I was young. You had to figure things out and think a little bit. Anyhow, GPS now, it's all over the place. And, the Department of Defense created it. A lot of multi-billion-dollar defense contracts, companies developed it. You got the satellites in place. Go on to Wikipedia and read about the global positioning system and all that's involved in keeping it running and keeping it accurate. Because just from the satellites being on the ground with Earth gravity to up many thousands of miles away with some less gravity, that affects the clocks. And the clocks have to have a built-in correction to allow for that. Because if they weren't correcting for it, within a day or two, they'd be so far off it'd be useless. Okay, who thought this up in the first place? Who figured these things out the first time? Say, okay, we could do this and do that, and each satellite would be sending out its signals, getting all scared all over the earth somehow, and then these little receivers right in your phone here, it sees them and hears them and picks it up and figures it out and makes it work. And all you want to do is go a mile to get to the Taco Bell, and then you're in a new town and you don't know where it is. Well, like I said before, living without the technology and then seeing it evolve, you appreciate it much more than someone who was born in the 2000s and is still voting Democrat because they think they're right and they're not. And, all kind of, liberal stuff there. I could go on and on about that, but I won't get into it too much in this episode. So that's all for this episode on the global positioning system. Again, here's my pictures of it. This is what it began as, and it worked when there was enough satellites available for it to work. So research, read, learn, and appreciate what you have now, because it wasn't always that easy. Okay, that's all for this episode. Please take the time to click the like button and give me a hand with that, okay? I'm trying to get this YouTube algorithm working in my favor here to, show my thumbnails here to more people so they can watch my videos and see and learn and hear things like this. Got to get those watch hours up if I ever want to get monetized in this channel. It's improving. I've been steadily improving the last 6 months or so, but I'm still a long way from having enough watch hours. So I gotta get a lot of views and watch time and work it here. All right, thanks for all that, and write in the comments any GPS experiences you may have if you ever lived without it before, and tell me some things and I'll respond in the comments. Thanks.